And somebody who I really like because he exposes how it's not a left-right paradigm. He exposes the Patriot Act and Bush. He talks about how Obama lied and is expanding it. He talks about really what this country is facing. And so we are really honored to have Andrew Napolitano, judge, also Fox News channel commentator, best-selling author, Princeton University, where he was a founding member of Concerned Alumni of Princeton and Notre Dame Law School. And Napolitano sat on the New Jersey bench from 87 to 95, becoming the state's youngest life-tenured judge. He also served as an adjunct professor at Seton Hall University School of Law for 11 years. And I think he's the best guy on the radio of what I would call mainline radio, exposing things. We're about to break in a minute, Judge, but I tell you, tyranny is just going crazy, isn't it?
It is, Alex. I just had that Pastor Steven Anderson on my Freedom Watch, FoxNews.com internet show, and we saw the tape of they're not even Border Patrol, they're border agents that were 75 miles from the Mexico-Arizona border, deep into Arizona, taser him, stomp on his face, press it into cracked glass and asphalt, because he would not give them permission to search his trunk.
And then they made fun of him.
Yes, they mocked him and said, you must be a terrorist, and they told him that the Constitution didn't apply to them and where he happened to be. There's a little good news in that today, coming from the Supreme Court. An unusual combination of liberals and conservatives issued an opinion last night saying the police can't search your trunk anymore. They either have to get your permission or they have to get a search warrant. The old rule that they could search anything they want in the car merely because they stopped you for going 2 miles over the limit or not having a seatbelt on is now history. So that should put a little bit of a crimp in the armor of the jackbooted thugs. Not enough, but a little bit. And journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single pace, but there's a lot of potholes still to come.
Absolutely. When we come back, Judge, we've got you till 45 after. We appreciate your time. We know you're busy. I want to get into Obama because I was driving to work the other morning and listening to you on XM. I listen many days. It's just one of the few shows I really, actually learned something from. And you were talking about the fact that the whole Nuremberg system of that I don't care if Hitler tells you to kill little kids, just following orders doesn't cut it. Obama is saying, no, we're going to protect people that break the law when they're ordered to do it. This is just unprecedented. I want to go through that and your take on where Barack Obama is taking us, now announcing the youth brigades, now announcing the new green carbon taxes to be selectively enforced on everybody. He's Judge Andrew Napolitano. We'll give you his website and a lot more. His radio show is Brian and the Judge, heard weekday mornings on XM and AM and FM stations across the country. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Are you concerned for the safety of your loved ones? Listen closely to this message from pepperspray.com. Every 22 seconds a violent crime is committed. America has changed, and your personal safety is your first priority. Be smart. Be safe. Trust pepper spray instead of your luck. Pepperspray.com is the only website you'll ever need for all of your non-lethal self-defense supplies. Pepperspray.com carries one of the largest assortments of pepper spray and personal safety products on the web. From big to small, we have it all. Pepper spray, mace, animal repellents, stun guns, and tasers. Pepperspray.com also carries a large assortment of products for personal, home, child, and pet safety. Enter SAFE in the coupon box and you'll receive a special discount off of your order. So what are you waiting for? Go to pepperspray.com. That's pepperspray.com or call 1-800-908-9988 today.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, when I watch his Fox internet show, he also contributes on Fox TV. It's like watching my own show, but with the judge's perspective. He actually covers the police state, the New World Order, and the radio show's great as well. Got until about 45 after. Judge, let's get right into Barack Obama. I mean, the media is not even making a big deal out of this, but knowing the law, studying the Nuremberg situation, the just following orders, what is happening here?
Well, the president is in a little bit of a bind. I really don't agree with him on any of his publicly stated positions, except in part this one, which is to review and reveal so that we can review the advice that was given to the Bush administration basically telling it its CIA agents could do whatever they wanted. I profoundly disagreed with him when he originally said, both personally and through his chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, that nobody will be prosecuted, and he seems to have backed off on that. But, there are prosecutions and there are prosecutions. When the American military treated Iraqi prisoners like dogs, literally, by putting dog collars on them and keeping them naked in flesh piles and inducing unnatural and immoral sexual acts. They prosecuted a private and a sergeant. They never prosecuted anybody up the chain of command, however far it went, and there's evidence that Secretary Rumsfeld himself was aware of that and either looked the other way, condoned it, or authorized it. The same must be the case for these torture memos. Now, I'll give you a little bit of information. One is that the torture memos are exceptionally one-sided. That is, when a client says to a lawyer, may I do this, it's the lawyer's job to amass the law in favor of the this and against the this, and then give a conclusion. These memos don't do that. They compliment the CIA for having the patience to wait and ask. We now know they didn't wait. They started this stuff before they even got the memo. And it then gives all sorts of twisted, tortured interpretations of words in order to justify what the CIA wanted to do. 2 points. One, the principal author of these memos, now a federal judge, he never would have been confirmed if the memo's been released before his confirmation. That's another story. Opines in these memos that he cannot say for sure if the medieval torture devices of the thumbscrew and the rack constitute torture. So they obviously picked someone to write these memos with an extremely perverse threshold as to what is torture and what isn't. 2, Bob Baer, a former CIA agent with whom I have clashed many times over the Constitution, came onto my radio show, Brian and the Judge, this morning, and startled my partner, who favors all this torture, and I, who, of course, oppose it with every fiber in my being, by saying the following. The CIA exaggerated the extent of the danger that was posed by these people uninterrogated. It exaggerated the nature of what it expected they knew, and it exaggerated what it received from them. Question from my partner, Brian Kilmeade. What about the second wave, and what about the third wave of attacks that never came because of the information obtained by these enhanced interrogation techniques? Answer, the CIA exaggerated that as well. There never has been any evidence of the planning of a second or a third wave. So when you put all this together, you really have a horrific series of events. A lawyer telling his boss he can do whatever he wants, the CIA carefully manipulating the Justice Department and the White House into giving it the authority that it wants to do, a compliant president whom Karl Rove told me on my show read the memos. I said, how do you know he read them? He said, well, we read them together, meaning they were probably read out loud to each other. You can speculate on the reasons for that. We have a very, very sad state of affairs. If no one is prosecuted, then we really have a rejuvenation of the Nuremberg defense, which is, I thought it was legal and I was told to do it by my bosses. That defense has been rejected by every signatory to the Geneva Conventions, which is virtually every country on the planet except for China, Israel, and Iran. Israel didn't exist at the time, and I don't believe it subsequently enacted them. I might be wrong on that. Every country in the world agrees that the Nuremberg defense is no longer valid.
It's amazing to have this going on, and they also did things like grab people and get them to give confessions to bombing buildings that didn't exist when they were arrested. So we also know it was used for fake confessions, Judge. Obama claims he's backing off this now. We need to see prosecution. Or where does it go from there? I mean, once you start torturing people, where does it end? And now when our troops get captured, how do we say it's not okay for other countries to torture them? It's like this Iranian American being grabbed by the Iranians. They're saying she had a kangaroo court. Well, how do we say it's a kangaroo court when the military commissions does that? Coming up, we got a news clip where mainstream media admits, and one of the former economists at the World Bank says that it's a private oligarchy ruling the United States. Judge Andrew Napolitano, best-selling author, Fox News contributor, and syndicated radio host, is our guest for another 10 minutes, and we got to let him go. I always enjoy being on his show as well. We appreciate him being here. Mr. Napolitano, Judge, specifically, the establishment tries to put us in left-right camps for divide and conquer. You know that. I hear you talk about it. I hear really no one else talking about it. And to have MSNBC, CNN come out on every show and say, you go to a Tea Party, you're racist. It's not that people are concerned about bankrupting the country or the police state or the $12.8 trillion spent so far. 98% of Americans in polls against the bailouts. I mean, that is cold-blooded for the system to come out and say, no, you're all racist. And some Americans end up believing that, thinking, oh, my God, there's all these racists out there. Isn't that what's racist, to claim it's all racist, injecting race card into something that isn't even about that?